Hi kids, in today's session you are going to continue the yearly Tamil society and culture, okay. Under this we are going to see about the Sangam age. Sangam age actually it is why we are saying this one as a Sangam age means during the prehistoric period we are not have any evidences. But the Sangam age, during the Sangam age, that means the when we got the availability of the textual sources and Sangam literature and Tamil promise inscriptions, we are calling this one as a Sangam age. That means that we got the sources to know about the history of the Tamil people, okay. We got the sources to know the Tamil people, life of the Tamil people. So it is called as the Sangam age. But during the prehistoric period, we are not had any type of the sources there to know about them. Okay. Next we will move on to the chronology and Tinai. Actually in this one, the Sangam age, we are going to read about the chronology and Tinai. What is the chronology? Actually the chronology, Sangam texts are generally dated to between 3rd century BC and the 3rd century AD. Sangam age from where to where they are saying the 3rd century BC. Okay, 3rd century BC. BC to same 3rd century AD. In between this year only, the years only they are saying as a Sangam age. Okay. The references in Greco-Roman text. Greco-Roman text means Greece and Roman text. Okay. Tamil Brahmi inscriptions and the references to the Cheras, Cholas and the Pandyas in the Ashokan inscriptions corroborate this date. From that alone, we know the date of this Sangam age. Okay. Before that, we doesn't know. Only from the Ashokan inscription as well as from the Greco-Roman text and Tamil Brahmi inscriptions only, we came to know it may be the Sangam age from the 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. Okay. It is generally agreed by all the Sangam period. Not only the one person it agreed, actually all the Sangam period, that means the Sangam from the Sangam poems, they agreed that definitely it may be from the 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. Next we will move on to the Tinai. Okay. The concept of Tinai, it is presented in the Tamil grammar book Tolkapiyam. Okay. Tinai is a poetic theme. Tinai is what? Poetic theme, which means a class or category and refers to a habitat of ecozone. Habitat of ecozone, which place they are living. Okay, the people, they are living in which place. According to that, the poems, it were written. They were written in the place where the people lived there. Okay, for example, that only we are saying that Kurunji, Mullai, Marudam, Neidal, Palai. I think so you people learned about this one in Tamil book. But this Aindinai only, it represents the not only the same places, it's not representing. It represents the different places. Okay. In Tinai, that poem, that Tinai means poem. Okay. That poem, it consists of the Kurunji, Mullai, Marudam, Neidal, Palai, that places. According to that places alone, the poem also written in the Tinai. Actually, Tinai, it is having the two parts, the Agam and Puram. Agathinai. Agathinai refers to the various situation of love and family life. Okay. Actually, already I told it. Okay. Same only here also saying Agananuru Purananuru. In that in that itself I explained that. Here also Agam Puram. Same only. Agam means one man's personal life. How he is living there with the family, with his community. That is called as a Agam. Okay. Representing that alone, the Tinai, they wrote that Agathinai. Okay. Purathinai means what is it one? This one, it denoting the heroism. It denoting the heroism of the person. How warfare also we may say. Heroism means at that moment they showed only in the warfare alone, isn't it? So only in the warfare and the heroism, it denotes the Puram. Okay. Aindinai I told. Aindinai means 5 landscapes. That alone I told as the, what are the Marudam, Neidal, Palai, Kurunji and Mullai. I told, isn't it? Okay. That actually preceding the deity, what actually all the person they are not lived in the same place already I told. They lived in the different places and they made that they did the occupation also different. Okay, they followed only the different occupations, as well as they worshipped the different gods. Their habit also, it is different from one another. Okay, about that we are saying means Kurinji, it refers to the hilly and mountainous region. Hilly and mountainous region. That means what they will do only the hunting and gathering. Isn't it? Kurinji people, what the main occupation will be there? Hunting and gathering. Mullai, forested and pastoral region. Forested and pastoral region. Pastoral region means we may say as a grassland. Okay, that means for what will be there? Forest, already I told, forest means definitely hunting it will be there, as well as gathering also will be there. And pastoral region also belong to Mullai alone. That means they will do the cattle rearing also. What they will do? The cattle rearing. In Kurinji hilly region, what I said, they will do the gathering, hunting, as well as they will do the agriculture also. Not the wheat or barley or rice they will grow there. Only they will grow the different types of the vegetables which it may grow in the area. Like that only they will grow there. That means they know the agriculture. In Mullai place they can't able to do that much agriculture. Only interior of the forest they did the agriculture. Okay, primitive agriculture it is called as a primitive agriculture. They did the interior of the forest, they did the primitive agriculture, and also they rear the cattle there. Next Marudam, it is the fertile riverine valley. Okay, riverine valley. It is the fertile riverine valley. That means the bank of the river that people lived. The Marudam people, they lived in the bank of the rivers. That means they know very well the agriculture. They grew only the rice, wheat, barley, maize, like that type of the crops. Next, Neidal. Neidal is a coastal region. Coastal region means they know only the fishing and pearl diving. Okay, they will take the pearls from the sea, as well as they are living near to the coastal areas. So definitely they know for their main occupation is the fishing alone. Next, Palai. Palai is a sandy desert region. In sandy desert region, what they will do? Only desert area, isn't it? That means what will be the main occupation of them? Only to grow the dates, palms, like that. Okay. Okay, children. Next, we will move on to the Sangamej polity. Sangamej polity, I said, isn't it? Political powers of Tamilagam. The Sangam age, it adds its roots from the Iron Age itself. Okay. The Iron Age people were organized into chiefdoms. That chiefdoms only they called as the Vandals. Chiefdoms only they called as the Vandals. Vandals means kings, we are saying, isn't it? That only they called as the Vandals. And as well as, actually this one is a yearly historic period, we said as the Vandals. And in afterwards in the Sangam age, what they said, Velis of the Sangam age were chieftains. Chieftains means what? District wise. Actually, what they are saying, Vendor, okay, Vendor means king. In the Sangam age, they say Vendor means king. That only they are kings I told. And next one is the under them, under this Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas, there were the Velis also. Okay, Velis are chieftains. Velis are who? Chieftains. Chieftains are called as a Velis. That means we may say as a Vendors are prime ministers and Velis are the chief ministers. Okay, that means that one divided into small parts, and that small parts it was ruled by the Velir people. Okay, now we will move on to the Movendar. Among the political powers of the Sangam age, the Cheras, the Cholas and the Pandyas occupied preeminent positions. They were known as the Movendar. Okay, the Movendar controlled the major towns as well as the ports of the Sangam period. First we will move on to the Cheras. The Cheras referred to as Kerala Putras. Cheras, how they were called as? Kerala Putras in the Ashokan inscription. That means Kerala, the Cheras people, the place, it may be only the Kerala. So only that people they are called as the Kerala Putras. Actually, they control the region of present day Kerala and also the western parts of Tamil Nadu. Vanchi was the capital of Cheras, while Musiri and Tondi, two places, Musiri and Tondi, were their port towns. With this Musiri and Tondi, the Roman people, they had the export and import, that means the trade. They had the trade with the Cheras people, Roman people, they had the trade with the Cheras people. Okay. Vanchi is identified with Karur in Tamil Nadu. Nowadays, Vanchi we are saying that one as a Karur. while some others identified with Tiruvanchikalam in Kerala. And Paditrupattu speaks about the Chera kings and as well as the territory. The Cheras wore garlands made from the flowers of the palm tree. The Cheras, what they wore in the, neck, the flowers made, the garlands which made of the flowers of the palm tree. The inscription of Pugalur near Karur mentions the Chera kings of 3 generations. Coins of Chera kings have been found in Karur also. The Silappadigaram speaks about Saran Chenguttuvan who built a temple for Kannagi. Saran Chenguttuvan, he built the temple for the Kannagi. Silappadigaram. Already I told that one, isn't it? The heroine of that Silappadigaram is Kannagi. For Kannagi, Saran Chenguttuvan, he built the temple also. And the bow and arrow was the symbol of the Cheras. Okay. And the legend Ilango Vadigal, he composed the Silappadigaram. He was the brother of Saran Chenguttuvan. Ilango Vadigal only composed the Silappadigaram. He was the brother of Saran Chenguttuvan. That means Ilango Vadigal also one of the prince alone. But he adopted the saint. Okay. Next, Cholas. Cholas ruled over the Kaveri Delta and north part of Tamil Nadu. Their capital was Urayur and their port town was Kaveri Poompattinam. Otherwise, it is called as a Bumbuhar. Okay. Karigalan is notable among the Chola kings and is credited with the bringing forest lands under the plough and developing irrigation facility by effectively utilizing the water from the river Kaveri. What it is the Karigalan? Still now we are having the one dam also which was built by the Karigalan. Kallane, they used to say as a Kallane. It was built by the Karigala Cholan. Okay. What he did there? He made that Kaveri water as a irrigation for the irrigation purpose. For that purpose only he built that Kallane also. With that use of that Kallane, he made the forest land as the agricultural land. Made the forest land as the agricultural land. Actually, Pattinepala, it is a long poem about the Kaveri Poompattinam, which was composed by the poet Kadailur Urudiran Kannanar. It was composed by Urudiran Kannanar. And Silappadigaram also describes about the trading activities of the Kaveri Poompattinam. Okay. Next, actually, that Silappadigaram, in that epic, the 3 things, that means the 3 Vendas, about the 3 Vendas it described there. Okay. What are the 3 Vendas? Cheras, Cholas and Pandyas. Actually, Cheras, Charan Chenguttuvan. Okay. He only built the he only made that Kannagi statue. And the prince only, that Ilango Vadigal only wrote the Silappadigaram. They moved in that one they described about the Kaveri Poompattinam, about the trading centers. And Pandyas, you know about the Pandyas, isn't it? They moved to Pandya kingdom alone, in the Madurai alone. Actually, they moved there for the business purpose, the Kannagi and Kolan. That means that in that Silappadigaram, they described about the Moovendas. Okay. The foundation for the extensive harnessing of water for irrigation purpose, which reached its zenith in later Chola times, was laid in his time. That only I told already. Karigalan, what he did there? He made the Kallane dam, I told, isn't it? Okay. The Chola emblem, it was the tiger. And they issued square copper coins. What they issued? Square copper coins with images of tiger. As well as elephant and the sacred symbols on the rivers. Everything what they did there in the rivers alone, they issued there. Okay. Next, Pandyas. Pandyas, who ruled the southern part of Tamil Nadu, are referred in the Ashokan inscription. Madurai was the Pandyas capital. Okay. Tamil literary tradition credits Pandyan rulers with patronizing Tamil Sangams. Actually, all the Pandyan rulers, they patronize the, what is that word? Tamil Sangams, Tamil academics, we are saying academics. Okay. The Tamil Sangam, what they did there? They patronized there. That means they developed they developed the Tamil poems, we may say that. And they actually in this one most known kings, we may say as a Nedunjeliyan, Nediyan, and Palayasalai, and may say as a Pandya king also they are saying, isn't it? The Pandyan symbol was fish. Next we will move on to the Velis I told, isn't it? About the Velis you will see that. Apart from the Vendas, there were Velis and numerous chieftains who occupied the territories on the margins of the Moovendar. On the margins of the Moovendar. And the important Velis are Pari, Kari, Ori, Nalli, Pagan, I and Adiyaman. They were the important Velis. Sangam poems write extensively about the generosity of these Velis. You know about the Pari. We may say that he only gave for the chariot for the plant. Okay, that means they are very much they used to donate to the people. They used to donate to the people. Okay, like that only what he did. He had very soft corner for the plant, and what he did for the plant, it's not having the actually that one is one of the climber. Okay, it's not having the place to climb. Okay, for that purpose what he did there, he gave his chariot to climb the plant. Okay, next the chieftains had alliance with one or other of the Moovendars. Most probably the Velis, they are having the contacts with any one of the Vendar. Okay, and helped them in their battles against the other Vendars. When if they are fighting in between them, at that moment, if they are belonging to the Chera means they will help to the Cheras. If they are belong to the Cholas means they will help to the Cholas. Otherwise, if they are fighting with any other people, any other Vendas, maybe Pallavas like that, if they are fighting means for that also these Velis, they helped the Moovendars. Okay children, thank you.